Coming up next on this special Memorial Day edition of Arizona Horizon, we'll take a ride on a B-17 bomber with a man who served during World War II. We'll look back at D-Day with a four-star general who flew missions over Normandy and see how veterans of the state VFW Honor Guard still serve their fellow soldiers. That's next on this special Memorial Day edition of Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to this special Memorial Day edition of Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Tonight we look back at some of the veterans we've met over the past year who shared their stories of battle, heroism, and sacrifice. We're here at the Wesley Bowen Memorial Plaza at the state capitol, which serves as home to a number of memorials that honor our veterans. Behind me, the anchor from the USS Arizona, which went down during the attack on Pearl Harbor. Almost half of the casualties at Pearl Harbor occurred on that naval battleship. We spoke to an Arizona veteran who was on guard duty during the Pearl Harbor attack, and we got to ride along as he took a thank you flight of sorts on a B-17 bomber.
I've got a lot more tomorrows yet. I don't know how many though.
Born in 1918, Eugene Leonard is part of what's dubbed the Greatest Generation, those who protected our country during World War II. Senior Sergeant Leonard fought in the Pacific.
His whole fighting all the way across the Pacific, and it shapes the person.
The medals are symbols of his life as a soldier during World War II, battles that still live in his mind. Leonard was on guard duty at Pearl Harbor on December 7th when he saw the Japanese planes. He immediately focused on getting to the ammunition sheds.
So we wouldn't got ammunition. We got ammunition for the other people too, so they could stand up themselves.
Trying to break open the armory, they couldn't find any keys, so he used his .45 and took out the lock on it. Now they at least had some ammunition.
Despite his heroics, Leonard witnessed men die in front of him.
Well, it was the experience that I had to go through, and you live through that experience and hope it never happens again.
It's that kind of attitude that inspired Guy Cullenby to write the Commemorative Air Force Museum about his friend.
Well, he's a modest guy, you know, and he saved a lot of people indirectly in his years as a skilled pilot instructor, airplane mechanic, and just the experiences alone, listening to them, really bring out the greatest generation and what they've done for us.
After hearing Leonard's story, the museum decided to take him on a flight free of charge. And for those who piloted the flight, it's an opportunity to say thank you.
For me personally, whenever I see somebody wearing a World War II veteran hat, which many of them do proudly, I go out of my way to walk up and thank them for the sacrifices they made for us.
For Leonard, it's an opportunity to experience new things. This was his first time on a Boeing B-17, an iconic aircraft of World War II. Over 12,000 B-17s were built for World War II. Today, only 12 remain. And one is here at the Commemorative Air Force Museum in Mesa. For those who get to fly in a B-17, it's an honor.
Oh, it's just a pleasure. You know, introducing somebody to this airplane, it's kind of an iconic aircraft of World War II, and being able to introduce veterans especially to this airplane and kind of, you know, tell people what it means and really explain what the airplane meant in terms of its contribution during World War II is an honor and a privilege.
Like the rest of the Greatest Generation, Leonard is defying the odds. 6 months ago, he suffered a stroke and has since lost his wife.
All the doctor says he shouldn't even be alive, so each day is, you know, is very well appreciated, and something like this just brings back all the things in his life and stuff, and he just loves it.
Leonard's fighting spirit inspires those closest to him.
He is. He's a very good man. Very honest, church-going. It just makes me feel good to be part of him.
And he's a Marine. You know, he's not lying down and woe is me, you know. He just keeps fighting like the Greatest Generation always did.
How was the flight?
And Leonard says, even at 99, he's got more living ahead of him.
Yeah, it's smooth ride.
Yeah.
First step.
Was you able to see out the
I can
windows?
spot everything. Everything's a new experience. It just keeps on going for life.
That was a long ways from here. I don't think you went up that far. I think he's overwhelmed today.
Eugene Leonard turned 99 on March 5th. He says he's determined to make it to 100. While the USS Arizona is a reminder of Pearl Harbor and the event that brought us into World War II, June 6th will mark 73 years since the start of another significant World War II battle, D-Day. Late last year, we talked to General Seth McKee, who piloted a plane over the Normandy invasion. He shared vivid memories of the battle that helped turn the war in the Allies' favor.
When he wasn't working for me, I guess. That's my chief of staff and my deputy commander.
The archive of Sally and General Seth McKee's life is pretty deep.
Yeah, that kind of brings back old memories, doesn't it?
After more than 60 years together and lives picked up and started all over the world, they have more memories together than most couples. But right now, General McKee is thinking about one specific day.
Well, I knew it was going to be big because I knew what was massing up in England. I was in England.
On June 5th, 1944, McKee was a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Air Corps. He commanded a fighter group, and that evening they were given their orders. They were heading to Normandy, France.
After the briefing, I looked up and nothing but an aluminum overcast over top of these C-47. Hundreds, I forget, 400 or 500 of them, all loaded with paratroopers who were going to be dropping behind the lines. And I told my pilot, I said, boy, it's not going to be delayed this time. This is it.
This was D-Day, 160,000 Allied forces, an enormous land, sea, and air invasion that would help determine the outcome of World War II. McKee led a group of P-36 fighter planes. They were fast and agile, and his squadron was at the very front of the action.
We were scheduled to be the first aircraft over the beach. My group was, and I was the leader. I only took 48 of them, a formation of 48, and we were to protect the beaches from enemy air.
Protect the beaches. In the whirl of German gunfire, it seemed an incredible task. Thousands of Allied troops unloaded from boats and took to the beach exposed to enemy fire.
Our job was to get them ashore, and we did it by strafing all the machine guns on the shore. They were strafing them from the cliffs, and we got behind those and strafed them and kept them out of business.
From his view above the battle, General McKee remembers tiny details of the men who fought that day.
I remember I was flying. The weather was it was overcast, and I was no more than 2,000 feet above them. I had 20/10 vision. I could see them like I could see you right here. I could see their eyeballs. I could see the Germans up on above the cliffs, and our troops had to get across the beaches, and they were exposed to them from above.
But General McKee remembers that the boats and the soldiers just kept coming, his view affording him the perspective of Allied power.
That was the most amazing thing. There was 4 lines of traffic going one abreast, solid stream from England to the continent, and a solid stream going back too for more troops. There was troops doing ships were having to do multiple trips. So they were all busy all day long. I've often said, if I could have jumped 10 feet, I could have walked from England to France without getting my feet wet. They were that close.
General McKee flew 69 combat missions during the war, but those early days after D-Day were some of the most intense as a pilot and commander.
I lost 100 aircraft my first 100 days of operations. We were in the hot stuff. What I was doing was the hottest thing in the war, because everybody on the ground was treating me, because I was always low support of the Army. And anybody who had a 45 would shoot at us, we went over.
General McKee made it home to his new wife and their young family. Together, they moved around the world for another 30 years, while General McKee commanded U.S. Air Forces and Sally and their 3 boys represented the country.
And that was my chief of staff,
Chapman.
And
their shelves of photos and albums catalog not only the important moments of their family, but also our country. But that day in June 1944 is still a vivid memory, not for the glory, but for the sacrifice.
They came ashore under fire. There were a lot of brave men there, and I saw a lot of brave people die on that beach.
General McKee passed away in December at the age of 100. At the time, he was the highest-ranking survivor of the D-Day invasion. When we return, the soldiers who came back from Vietnam had a very different experience than soldiers of previous wars. We'll hear from one veteran who found peace with his time in battle through writing. The Fallen Warrior sculpture is part of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial here at Wesley Bowen Plaza. The sculpture portrays young soldiers as war victims as much as heroes. Many soldiers came back from Vietnam to learn that they had new battles to endure. We talked to a veteran who found peace through writing and now helps other vets work their way past the memories of war.
It was another miserable hot day in the hell they called Dong Ha, Vietnam. I was hanging on the fence just below the razor wire with my head dropped in shame. The rock that I had just thrown at the POW missed, but the axe stung like a killer bee, like a time machine in a movie script. I remember pulling my M14 closer and assured myself the ammo clip was in place and at the ready.
It's the moments that Gary Clemens remembers.
The open wing windows blasted a heat wave when you drove fast enough, but the door jamb was too hot to rest your arm on.
It's the visual film that runs through his mind of his time in Vietnam.
Came right into the northern portion of Vietnam, right on the DMZ. It was pretty heavy fighting. I was just turned 19.
Clemens spent 13 months of his life in Vietnam, but those days crowd his memory, coming back to life in unexpected moments. He left Vietnam with an invisible scar.
The first time when I went to the VA and I said, I need some help, you know, I'm not doing real well. And they, both clerks looked at me and, where? And I didn't get hit, but it's not right.
Clemens has PTSD, but when he first arrived home from Vietnam, there wasn't any help for veterans like him. Like so many veterans, he found ways to cope on his own. Some of his methods were destructive, others practically salvation.
But I was able to hide behind the footlights, so to speak, and Kansas City I come. I found acceptance there on stage. I didn't have to talk about the war. I grew my hair long and did everything that a lot of veterans did.
He made a successful side career in music.
Later, I went with Johnny Western.
But after 3 failed marriages, he found himself at the Vietnam Wall in Washington, D.C., barely able to breathe. His 4th wife made him realize he couldn't escape those moments.
She said, "You need help, and you need to get it now."
Clemens ended up at the VA hospital and started work figuring out how all those moments played out in the rest of his life.
Once the counselor started hearing some of my stories, he said, "You need to write down these stories and just get them out."
So he did.
He lifted off with a blast of downdraft, had us ducking and holding our helmets. He hit the throttle with the authority of a man that knew his bird.
The moments turned into paragraphs.
Only his toy can produce the adrenaline it takes to command his spirit.
Then chapters.
If something was wrong, it would not take long for my presence to be challenged.
And eventually a book entitled War and Memories, Survival with a Measure of Success.
I would like veterans to read this book and say, at the last page, close it and say, "Now, if he can do it, I can do it."
Clemens takes his message on the road. He and his service dog visit vet events. He does readings and gives away as many books as he can, because there's one thing he knows.
The memories of war do not really go away. They lay dormant for years, and they'll come back with a vengeance.
Clemens still writes, still plays music, and he's learned to ask for help. He's found his way through the memories.
It must have been the fading sound of choppers as they banked back towards the north. But the memories of those and other sounds have faded. The sound most assuredly in memory came from the agony of the wounded. Also were the shouted orders of the assembled team to get the wounded to the tents.
It's estimated that 30% of Vietnam veterans experience some form of PTSD during their lifetime. That's compared to estimates of 11 to 20% of veterans of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars.
My father was drafted into Vietnam at the height of the conflict. He became a single parent of 2 young children. We moved a lot. We slept in rest areas. We slept in our car. I didn't realize that we were actually homeless. It makes your world really small. If we happened to stay in a motel that happened to have a TV, it was really special. We loved Nova, especially when it would be about space. We would talk for hours about the universe. Watching Nova, I felt big, like my mind was big, my ideas were big. The trajectory of my life changed. I could see a world outside of our poverty, and I felt like things were gonna get better. PBS opened up a world I didn't know existed.
Beside State Route 90, about 12 miles from Mexico, is a monument to Fort Huachuca. Today, a high-tech training facility, but also a key outpost in Arizona history. Founded in 1877 as a temporary camp, Camp Huachuca protected miners, ranchers, and travelers against Apache attack. After Geronimo's surrender in 1886, the fort protected the border, and in 1915 supported General Blackjack Pershing's expedition against Pancho Villa. A statue at the fort celebrates black soldiers who served here first in 1892, then continuously since 1913, when the 10th Cavalry, nicknamed by Indians the Buffalo Soldiers, were sent here. In 1942, the 1st All-Black Division was stationed here. Fort Huachuca has a long and distinguished record of support for the people of Arizona.
Behind me are 10 blocks of granite that are engraved with the names of the 613 Arizonans who were killed or missing in action in Vietnam. Throughout the plaza here, you'll find memorials to soldiers killed in the Korean War and both World Wars, and to men and women who gave their lives for public service, such as police and firefighters. Paying honor is certainly something to think about on Memorial Day. Recently, we met a group of men who honor veterans every day through their work on the Veterans of Foreign Wars State Honor Guard.
My name is Pete Rosales. I'm the commander of the State Honor Guard at the National Cemetery. I started out as a Marine in 1964, and I got out in 1970. In 71, I joined the Army, and I retired from the Army in 2002. I am a military person, and it's been my life. I can't say that I enjoy it, but it's a great honor to be here and do this for our veterans. The Honor Guard provides honors to our veterans. We also support the other branch of service when they don't have a rifle team or a bugler or a chaplain. We provide all of that. We're in support of all the branch of services. They will present arms.
All right. Rest.
And then we'll do a rifle volley. 3 rifle volleys.
Ready. Aim.
The taps will be played. They will fold the flag and present the flag to the next of kin. When they were mobilizing for Iraq, we used to do the whole service. We used to fold and present the flag because there was not enough manpower because they were all being deployed. But since they're back already, they do the duties of folding and presenting the flag, but we still support them.
Prepare to fire.
We have one member in there that was here when he recruited me. He's been here 15 years. I've been here 14 years. You really can't explain it because it comes from the heart. All these people, my squad, they are here because they feel the same way. They're all volunteers. We're all volunteers. And they feel the same way or else they wouldn't be here. So it's a great honor to be here and bid our comrades a final farewell. I will step up and present 3 shells that have been fired to honor, salute, and bid farewell to the veteran. It's an honor to be here. If you have seen, which obviously you haven't seen your brother or your comrade fall in heat of battle, which is something that you'll never forget. And it's partly for them too, you know, they're never forgotten. We're here every day for a month, every 3rd month. We've done over 5,000 ceremonies here, you know. Like I said, this area right over here was nothing but desert, plain area. Now it's full. We are here assembled to pay a lasting tribute of respect to our departed comrade. We're filling up so quick. We've got over 80,000 internments here. So we have some World War I veterans here, not too many. There are a lot of World War II veterans, and there's even more Korean War veterans, and there's even more Vietnam veterans. And then we have some Iraqi freedom, and some Afghanistan enduring freedom. And we never get used to it because each ceremony is different. When I see the family, little children cry and say, "Daddy, Grandpa," that kind of brings a tear to my eye. There is something that maybe a lot of people don't understand. These are our comrades. And these people here preserved our freedom. And if they go without honors, it means that we forgot them. We haven't forgot them. And we want to provide everything they're due, which is the ultimate honors for them and their family. That's why they receive a flag. It's their flag. They earned it. So they're preserving our freedom, which we enjoy today. Wish to thank friends and family for the opportunity to bid our comrade a final farewell. I'm going to be doing it to my last breath. I want to stay here as long as I can. Farewell, comrade. Farewell.
That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. We hope you enjoyed this special Memorial Day edition of Arizona Horizon. For all of us at Arizona PBS, you have a great evening.
If you have comments about Arizona Horizon, please contact us at one of the addresses on your screen. Your comments may be used on a future edition of Arizona Horizon. Thank you. Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.